Ready now?
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
I'll call the meeting to order. Legislative Rules and Governmental Operations Committee, March 28th, 2025, time is 9:30 a.m. Why don't we start with the legislative rules and governmental operations legislative agenda first. So we go next in the agenda to the approval of January 30th, 2025 minutes. Is there a motion to get that on the floor? Moved by Supervisor Wild, seconded by Supervisor Thomas. Any suggested corrections? Hearing none, I'll put it to the floor for a vote. All those in favor of the minutes as presented, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. Next, privilege of the floor. So anybody out there other than committee members that would like to say something at this point in time? Reference to today's legislative rules and governmental operations committee meeting. Seeing none, I'll move on to action agenda, new business items. One, a referral from the Adirondack Park Local Government Review Board seeking a resolution mirroring Essex County Board of Supervisors Resolution number 60, 2025, which is attached concerning recognition for Adirondack Park Agency Executive Director Barbara Rice. So, in essence, it is resolving the Essex County, and I think that they are hoping that we would plug in Warren County, believes that the current Adirondack Park Agency commissioners are thoughtful and professional and are dedicated to balancing the needs of this great experiment. And that F6, possibly Warren County, requests Governor Hochul to reappoint all expired commissioners immediately. So, and again, this is coming from our Adirondack Park Local Government Review Board, which I generally think do great things for the Adirondacks. And they're suggesting that we support the same thing as Essex County if moved by for discussion by Supervisor Thomas, seconded by Supervisor Mayday. Discussion. Yeah.
Yeah, I attended the local government review board meeting. What day was it? Wednesday, I think it was. And there seems to be a consensus that the commissioners and the director, the head commissioner, Mrs. Rice, are doing a lot better job than has been done in the past. They listen to people. Things are running fairly smoothly. They're trying to even out the permit process and make it a little easier for people. So there seemed to be a consensus that the governor should reappoint the commissioners as they stand.
And I like the direction they're going in terms of recognition of hamlets as opposed to towns. Hamlets don't have their own municipal entity to represent them. Generically, they are represented by the town in which they're located. But the Adirondack Park Agency is giving recognition under the current state and the current leadership of allowing a little independence, allowing some density, allowing some growth. I like that for one. You know, keep the rest of it natural, but allow some room for these hamlets and towns to expand economically and residentially. But anyways, I shouldn't have probably put my 2 cents in. Anybody else? All right, so there's a motion on the board to approve this and put together a similar resolution for our next Board of Supervisors meeting. Where we'll plug in Warren County in the areas of Essex County that we give the same support. Let me put it to a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nay? Motion passes. Next, discussion items, none. Cattaraugus County Legislature number 268 of 2024 urging New York State Public Service Commission to reject National Grid's proposed rate increases for electric and natural gas. Following discussions with National Grid representatives, committee determined it was preferable to draft a resolution tailored to Warren County's interest. Mr. Wild to draft for presentation at future committee meeting. So you also have a copy of that, I believe.
You don't have a draft from Warren.
Oh,
And full
Right,
disclosure,
well, yeah,
that
that's
wasn't
what
me.
I got. a draft for the Cattaraugus County. All right, resolved is that Cattaraugus County Legislature, and again, same situation, if the committee supports moving it to the Board of Supervisors, it would be Warren County. Hereby condemns National Grid for its proposed excessive electric and gas rate increases, be it further resolved that you know, generally in opposition to the National Grid proposed rate increases. We've discussed that before. They're asking for rate increases and at least part of the reason for those increases to expand and stiffen infrastructure, which we all agree they do need to do. All right. So a motion to get this on the floor, motion made by Supervisor Wild, seconded by Supervisor Driscoll. Let's talk about it. Supervisor Mayday?
Yeah, well, I don't have a lot to say other than I realized, you know, when they came and pitched to us why they need the increase and that they hadn't gotten it. You have a lot more information on this. And I understand that we don't want to price businesses out either, so there's got to be some middle ground, I would think, and I don't know if they've come up with anything different yet. So let's hope for some input.
Yeah. That's interesting. The middle ground?
Yeah, John, yeah, I think this is reasonable. I think it's reasonable also to expect that they will allow some certain increase. It's just how much. And how much of an impact it will have on our businesses, especially industrial businesses in the region that use significant energy to be able to move forward with their business. So I'm in agreement to forward something like this and hope it makes an impact.
Okay. Any other discussion by committee members? Supervisor Conover?
Yeah, I mean, even if we're in support of the spirit of this, are we happy with the language? I mean, there's some words in here like reckless and excessive, you know, there's certain words in here. I mean, are we happy with that?
I noticed that also. I think it's probably wise to kind of tone it down a little bit.
Yeah, I would leave that to the, if you want, we could do it right now, or we could leave it to the chair, but I mean, I think there's some language in here that I don't think helps the cause. Let's put it that way. I think we can make our case responsibly without,
There's some tough language in here that I think we should probably take out. The democratic policies, that doesn't add any value to what we're trying to say. So I think it's more about the local economy and our residents and the impact it'll have on them.
All right, so we have a motion and a second to get this on the floor. It looks like we would like to amend Cattaraugus County's version and tone it down a little bit. Would Supervisor staff Wild be willing to work with staff to
Absolutely.
I'm happy with that.
okay, so with the idea that Supervisor Wild will work with staff to just make this more professional and gentleman and lady.
I think it'll make it more effective, actually.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think so too. I agree.
It's just a question.
Supervisor.
So I think the original intent was to have these rate increases effective April 1 next week.
Yeah,
Does anybody know what the status of that is?
You better get it out the door.
You do it. I can work on it today.
okay.
Do we want to take this to the full board, or do we want to make the motion to allow the chairman of the committee or the chairman of the board to express this in letter form so it can get out the door like
Well, if it's
immediately.
gonna say Warren County, I believe it has to go to the Board of
Okay,
Supervisors.
all right.
If you want to say the legislative committee, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we could do it, but it's,
My only reason for that modification would be a timing question. But I think
I understand.
I'm good either way.
Yeah,
I'm good either.
Supervisor Garachi, I don't have an answer for you, sorry. Supervisor Driscoll.
Thank you, Chairman. Yeah, I would encourage us, if we could, to get a letter prepared, whoever is responsible for that, and get that out ASAP, and then bring it to the full board. But I think we have a responsibility to our constituents, both residents as well as business community, to, let them know that we're taking this seriously.
So you're saying we could do both?
Yeah, yeah. Get the letter out, and then, I can't imagine, but then again, I've been surprised that it would take effect April 1st, because again, they don't.
Amanda's suggesting that if we send a letter from the chair, our committee, and the board doesn't approve it, it doesn't look
doesn't
right.
look-
Something
Go one
happening
way or the other.
on April 10th. National
I
Grid.
think we have to go one way or the other. I would favor having Supervisor Wild work with staff, amending it in the way that we gave directions and we agreed upon, take out the language that we think is too expressive, and present it to the Board of Supervisors at our next Board of Supervisor meeting. Is that the agreement
Yeah, I
of the
guess
committee
that's-
then, given what we now know? All right, let me-
Yeah, I will, I'll reach out to a number of supervisors before we send this out, but there is a public statement period, April 10th. So that's the day before our board meeting.
oh,
So, I'll make sure we get that out, and I'll work with John and our attorneys
okay,
to see what we can do in terms of making a statement at the event on the 10th.
okay, thank you. Administrator Taplin?
Yeah, I just reached out to National Grid, but everything that I've seen online looks like the rates do take effect on 1st of April.
Oh,
They decided what those rates
so
are.
what's the public hearing for on the tenth?
They asked for 15% for electricity and 20% for natural gas.
I don't remember that going to the legislature for approval. It did. I mean, just because I don't remember, doesn't, what.
This is as of March 20th.
Oh, okay. Well, you want to go through the motions anyways?
Motion.
All right, let me put it to a vote. We all understand. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
All right.
Any nays? All right, motion passes. We'll still go through the motions regardless, if that's okay. Privilege of the floor. Anybody wish to discuss anything at this point in time? Non-committee people? Hearing none, but Supervisor Conover.
Yeah, I'm just curious what the experience is in other communities with streetlights. We're coming into, the snowbanks are gone now, and we're seeing quite a few streetlights out all over National Grid. And I'm hearing from some supervisors, they have the same issue with, they have a reporting program. National Grid has a reporting program
Yeah.
as part of their program. However, the number that are out, it seems that they need to make a concerted effort to get these streetlights. I don't know what the experience is. in
Well,
other
sometimes
communities.
they're not notified. We notify them, we give them the pole number, and if there's an adjacent house number so that they can more easily locate that pole, we give that to them. And they're pretty good about changing the light.
So your experience in Queensbury,
Yeah,
I mean, they've corrected,
They've
they
been
had that
notified.
reporting program where you put the poll number and they come up with a map, so they have their own internal thing, but boy, they seem slow. They seem slow in responding to,
Yeah.
and I understand it's a lot of lights, that part I get, but it's it's really a public safety issue, really. But all right, I'm not sure that, but perhaps we might,
yeah.
want to communicate just a letter to National Grid, just saying that now the spring is here. We would hope they get on these streetlights and get them corrected in all our
Well, I think they do, if they've been notified.
That's,
Now, if you think they drive around and check them, I don't think they do on a regular
Oh.
basis. Um,
that's the key, Chair. They don't have a proactive approach to actually their personnel going out looking for it. So it's up to the municipalities to report that.
yeah. I agree.
It should be the other way.
Can we move on?
I know, just to make a comment about it. I had to call about a month and a half ago, and they were there the next day fixing it, so I had good luck.
Yeah, we haven't had
I
any
did it through
problem.
the computer.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's move on. Next is, see if I find the county clerk DMV agenda, and I see that Clerk Black and Deputy Clerk Morgan are both here. Would you please come to the table if you will?
Couple of changes to the agenda, so those are the handouts that I have.
Okay.
Um,
Before I get to action items, is there, again, privilege of the floor and public comment? Seeing none, let's get the agenda items. Proclaim April 2025 to be Donate Life Month.
That's the wrong. Took that off.
That's the wrong agenda. I want the one carried with me. All right.
We are gonna proclaim.
Forget the
April.
above. Request, amend the 2025 budget, rationale with the passage of resolution 357 of 2024. A new revenue stream was created, and as a result, new revenue line was created. The accurately reflected revenue. I'm requesting $197,743 be moved to another section of the budget. All right, let me hand it over to either Deputy Black or Deputy Morgan or Clerk Black.
And with the passage of the resolution last year, recouping the mortgage tax expenses incurred through processing mortgages. In the budget process, I don't think we really discussed it much, so it just went to county clerk fees. To accurately reflect that revenue, it should have its own separate revenue item. So I'm just requesting to take that amount out of county clerk fees and add it to mortgage tax admin fee.
All right, motion made by Supervisor Conover, second by Supervisor Thomas. Discussion, committee member?
No? Sounds
No
like a good plan.
discussion. Let's move it to a vote. Those in favor of amending the 2025 budget as just described, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. Second item, request funds to be set aside for the next 3 years for office upgrades, carpet, paint, furniture, water cooler. Rationale, the office is in desperate need of carpet and upgrades to furniture to improve the overall appearance for our constituents, improve health and well-being, and boost employee morale. And I'll hand it over to County Clerk Black.
I am going to amend this request. Christine and I met a few days ago to discuss this, and we did decide that buildings and grounds should cover the carpet and the paint. So we have since talked to Scott, and he's going to cover that for this year. So we're gonna take the $6,000 repair and maintenance request off of that request. The other request for the next 3 years, I'm gonna table the 3 years. That was the original thought process, but I think what we really need right now is furniture upgrades to our records room. I invite you to go check it out if you'd like. But I have a similar quote that we just upgraded furniture for our principal legal clerk, and that was about $6,900. I'm correct. So that's where the $6,600. So that's where the $7,500 comes in. Just kind of similar to that request. And again, this is just for this year. And then at budget time, we'll review and see what we need in the future.
Okay, so Deputy Clerk Black is suggesting we amend the amounts for furnishings. I'll leave it generic. a total of $6,600.
We're removing the repairs and maintenance request and just keeping the furniture request
All right,
for this year, for 7,500.
for this year,
Yes, for this year.
forget, scratch the 3-year.
Scratch the 3-year. We'll review that when it's budget
Within
time.
This year, 2025.
2025 for
Would
7,500.
ask the committee to support the allocation of $6,600 towards furnishings improvements, whatever it might be.
7,500.
Okay, 7,500?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I'm looking down here, but I thought you amended that. All right, 7,500, we keep it 7,500, I don't know what I heard. Supervisor Conover brings it to the floor.
Yeah, I'll bring it, and then I have some
Okay,
questions.
and seconded by Supervisor Driscoll, Supervisor Conover.
Yeah, I just was wondering, is this an internal transfer, or you're looking for additional dollars to be moved into your budget to 7,500?
Additional dollar.
Additional dollars moving into the budget, okay,
Yep.
and so this would now turn to Frank, if we were going to move 70, if we were going to approve $7,500, what would be the source of that?
Well, then it goes to Finance Committee from here then, because it is asking for funding from the outside, right?
Well, it would have to come from our contingency, or it would have to come from our unassigned fund balance, I mean, but
But
Oh, yeah, all right, it is from taking from the contingency account.
Right. contingency, okay, thanks.
Supervisor Garachi? Did you have a question?
No.
All right. Supervisor
Just
Driscoll.
very quickly, I guess just speaking to the merit of this request. I believe that that department has the most foot traffic of any department in Warren County, and I think that, you know, we always need to present, you know, a professional atmosphere when customers come in to do business. You know, and that's the merit side of it. Certainly, we need to discuss the financial responsibility and side of it too, but on merit, I think that it's important that we at least have this conversation. Thanks.
Okay, any further discussion? Let me put it to vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye.
Any nay? Motion passes. Let's move on to number 3. Request to appropriate funds from budget code A 909, general fund unappropriated surplus to budget code A 14.444, county clerk travel conference education budget rationale. Miscommunication led to liquidation of the purchase order encumbering the 2024 funds for expenditure in 2025, and they fell back to the general fund. So this is a request to correct that. Any additional comments on this?
not really. It's pretty self-explanatory.
Bring the action item to the floor. Anybody? Supervisor Conover? Seconded by Supervisor Wild. Discussion? Hearing none, I'll put it to a vote. Those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. Discussion items, PRIA conference review.
So Linda and I attended the Property Records Industry Association Conference in March. It's a new association that the county clerks have been involved with. And NYSAC, New York State Association of County Clerks, actually paid for my registration to represent all of the state. So I went there to, you know, learn about property records. There was a great keynote speaker. One of the big conversations is property fraud, deed fraud. It is on the rise with the technological advances with AI. A lot of people are faking what they look like when they're doing electronic notarization and stuff like that. We haven't seen too much of it in our office, but there was a big discussion on how to be proactive rather than reactive. Currently, we have our property fraud alert system. I hope all of you are aware of that. Anybody in the county can sign up. It's on our webpage. You put your name in there, and any property transactions that happen in your name, you will get notified. Most states already do that. It was very interesting to see what other states were doing. I was the only one from New York State, so there's, you know, a variety of different things. You know, some states only have recorders, they don't have county clerks, or have county clerks and recorders. Some states have a statewide database of all property records, which was pretty interesting. There was also discussion of bulk sales of land records. And a lot of technological advances with software and AI, anywhere from AI helping the people search. So I don't know if any of you have been to the records room, you go to the computer, you type in what you're looking for, and sometimes you don't know what you're looking for. Those AI tools will help the layman terms and the general population help look for what they're searching for. So that's something I'm going to be discussing with our vendor, because it's going to have to come from them. And then there's also advances in indexing, which that is a big part of our workflow. If records don't get indexed, then they don't get to the property records department, the property department. So I think advances in that and maybe automating indexing will help in the future. So I'm looking forward to progressing with that.
Any questions for the clerk on the prior conference? Supervisor
Mr. Chairman, this property owner notification alert
Yes.
system, I think that is worthy of maybe Don Lehman doing something, put something out on that. I think that's that's a significant thing. I don't know if any of you have had any experiences with their residents where this has been an issue, but this can be a very big issue.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a growing issue or not.
It is.
It is.
I understand it's a growing issue, so I think the ability to alert property owners that somebody's trying to transfer their property is, I think that's a very important message to get out there. And then it should also include, I think, not only sign up for the alert system, but what to do should you be alerted,
That's true.
who should you call? I
Yeah.
think that's I think that's worthy of a communication, are communicating it very well.
I agree. Is there any route that we have to go through? As to filter what Don Lehman County can put out to the public?
No, he can do a press release.
Okay, all right.
And there
so-
was a I think it was on the news last fall. There was like a little blurb on the news about our property fraud alert.
All right, so County Clerk Black and or Deputy Morgan, would either one of you get in contact with Don Lehman
Absolutely.
to share this story with them?
Yeah, and I think if, since our county administrators, you know, out on the talking circuit, if we could prepare a little flyer that could be distributed, and we could also post it in our town halls, and we might even put it on our town internet sites. I think this is something we should be, you know, very conscientious about.
Yeah.
The increase of fraud is unbelievable. I mean, homes are being sold right out from under people and they have no idea of it.
Yeah, no, I've heard stories of for sale signs being put up on people's
Mhm.
property and things like that. So I think this is something that we need to be, you know, focused on. And I think, you know, if we can get it out to the towns, maybe the towns can put it on their internet site. But I think it should be, you know, what the alert system is and then what to do should you receive an alert like this.
Yeah, well, I think it's a good suggestion. So when Don Lehman put together the press release, that's something that we can put on our website. Supervisor Thomas.
Yeah, I just wanted to agree with Supervisor Conover. I think, I think as the depository for all the deeds and titles and stuff, I think it's our responsibility to stop this, or at least try to. I don't think it's, you know, we hold all these documents. You know, we put them online and everything. It's our responsibility to make sure that they're tampered with.
The title companies are really on the front lines of this, so they're working with advances too with technology to combat it. They have a new tool coming out called Identified with mortgage lenders and title companies. They're trying to track their facial recognition with a certain PIN so that you have to be accurately that person in order to transfer property or to notarize a document.
Good discussion. All right, let's,
Sure.
yeah.
Just one other
Supervisor
comment. Pardon me, everyone. I think we should go to the attorney's risk team. Understand what risk the county might have if something like this opens and what might fall upon us.
Okay, Administrator Kaplan would like to speak to that.
No, no, thank you, Mr. Chair. That's a good point. I can talk to Larry about it.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, good point. All right, can we move on now to discussion of the 2024 annual report of the Warren County Clerk's Office? Is there anything you'd like to add? We do have copies.
No, and I don't want to take up all your time on it. Just some highlights. We've had some staffing changes, some promotions. We are currently hiring 2 more positions. And I do have to highlight the DMV, because I know there's probably been some public comment. We've been short-staffed, almost 3 people for the last few weeks. That combined with the Real ID deadline coming down on May 7th, and then opening up appointments every day has really overwhelmed our staff. So we appreciate the public's patience. We are down to 2 people out, and we are hiring 1 by the end of today. So we should be up to only 1 down, and that employee, we're not sure is when we'll be back. But it will be great to be back to somewhat maximum capacity there.
Okay, annual report, questions, discussions, Supervisor Conover?
Yeah, I mean, the whole office, but that part of the office is really where the tire hits the road in terms of the public.
Yep.
And what can we do here as a board to give you any ability to do, to respond to that shortage immediately, if that's the correct word, as opposed to, I mean, our process is here, can take time.
Yep.
Creation of positions, funding of positions, et cetera. Meanwhile, you've got people coming, it's nonstop,
Mhm.
and businesses as well, and I don't know what we can do to allow you to be more effective in plugging the hole while the system takes care
Yeah.
of the deficiency.
So one thing, would be convenient for me is to have a little more access to overtime funds. Because our staff could probably work till 5:30, 6 o'clock at night. Not that we want to burn them out, but when we're in these scenarios, it would be helpful to have access to those funds, especially when, I'm 2 people short and not paying 2 people on the salary line. So access to those funds would be helpful. I mean, to be honest with you, I've had employees, senior level employees that kind of work on their own time because that's how far behind we are and that's how dedicated they are to this office.
And I think too, we're at the bare minimum. So if somebody's out, we feel it. So a potential, another position would be definitely beneficial in the future.
And even a part-time position,
Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
So what do we need to do to allow you to access those overtime funds to authorize overtime? I mean, what more do you need? You don't have the authority right now to authorize the use of that overtime, or you don't have funds to.
I have enough to basically cover probably until now and OT.
So you, so that overtime line would need to be
Yeah.
replenished.
Yeah, and I think we could replenish that with the salary funds, but yeah, that's something I don't have right now.
I don't know, Frank, what do you think? Entertain the transfer now or
Do you have vacant positions?
No,
Yeah.
it wasn't.
I do, yes,
No.
we're hiring.
It'll be filled
It'll be
today.
filled today.
Yeah, I'm hearing no, we can't right now. In the future, agenda items, so
Right.
forth,
It
yeah.
has to be on the agenda
Had to be on the agenda.
action. Since it's not on the agenda, hey, you can't take any action.
So perhaps we can put it on the agenda for our next
Yeah.
legislative rules.
For sure.
What Carrie's saying though is because they have a vacancy, they have the funds available and they're
Right.
regular, they just need to transfer it into overtime. Which is a simple transfer, but we can't do it today because it's not on the agenda.
Sure.
Okay, thank
Could
you.
it come out of-
Supervisor Thomas is next.
Yeah, I was just gonna make that.
Oh,
same
okay.
point.
Supervisor.
Yeah,
Grant.
just a quick question. So if you hire someone today, how long would it actually take them to be able to work alone in a counter spot,
6 months.
6 months.
Yeah,
So you're still behind.
we're still behind. So that's where the access to overtime funds for our senior employees would really be helpful. And it's just a bad circumstance of many situations. So, you know, two people sick, real ID coming down the pipeline and opening up to appointments. So the culmination of that has really just overburdened the office.
And somebody was promoted to DSS. She was wonderful,
Yeah, so-
lovely.
I've seen recently in the news that many New York State DMV offices are staying open until 9 or 10 o'clock at night, even though this has been readily news available for a very long time. But they're trying to catch up to this real ID. If the state is doing that, I mean, we have to do something in the county.
Okay, well, that's something that Deputy Clerk Black can bring back to us for next month and we can discuss again. But Supervisor Conover's next and then Supervisor Driscoll.
Yeah, I mean, I think our managers, I think our county clerk and our county administrator need to at least from this supervisor, understand that what's unacceptable is not meeting the mission, not, it's failing the mission with the public. That's unacceptable. And I think that you need to do whatever it is that you need to do. And even if we have to approve it retroactively, I'm good with that. As long as, we don't, fail in what it is that we're supposed to be doing. And I think when you get down to so few people, and then that's not counting sick time, people get sick, all kinds of situations arise, et cetera, et cetera. So, to me, that really demands our administrators, you in particular, the county administrator, along with our budget director, to make sure that doesn't happen.
Yep. And I think there's some confusion or misinformation about the real ID. So people are rushing in thinking that they have to get it by May 7th. It is not a New York State requirement. It's a federal requirement only for travel. So if you're not traveling till August, if you're not going to fly domestically, you don't need to rush in and get that real ID. I think that's a common misconception for people. And also, if you have a passport, you really don't need the real ID as well. So I think there's some misinformation out there and there needs to be some more communication. I've had a couple conversations with some elderly people who are having a hard time, finding their birth certificate, or if say a woman was married a few times, she needs the record of her marriage, then her divorce, then her new marriage, then her new divorce. All that chain has to go through with a real ID. With the passport, it's much easier process. And if you've ever had a passport in the last 5 years, it's just a renewal and it's just a form online. So it's a lot easier.
Okay, 4 or 5 times. Supervisor.
Thank you,
Driscoll.
Chairman. I'll try to be quick. We've got 16 members of the board here today. If we were able to articulate our conversation to the 4 who are absent, Amanda, is it possible, since we have a special second Friday of the month meeting of the board because of the Easter weekend, that we could bring it to a floor vote?
If that's the only option you would have, excuse me, to get this on the agenda for April 11th would be through a floor resolution.
I mean, is that something that we could entertain this morning?
This committee cannot vote on it.
It's not on the
It's not
agenda.
on the agenda, so this committee can't take any action. The only way we could get it done April 11th, and if you're talking just a transfer of funds, we could do it as a floor resolution for April 11th. That way we would have the resolution drafted and out for public review
So
with all the other resolutions, and that would make the board able to act.
we can't vote on it, but we request to you or that it be brought to the 11th meeting on April 11th.
Right, but we need to know more information on how much the transfer is going to be transferred. And then you already have an overtime line, so I assume you already have authority to pay overtime.
Yes.
So, yeah, so it's a matter of just transferring the funds out of her regular salary code, her 110 to the part-time.
So the deadline
do
for
is-
properly getting it on the agenda for the board would be like beginning of next week.
Yeah, it's not a hard thing to do. We can
Okay.
do a floor resolution, we just would need to know the amounts, but I can work with Carrie to get that.
Okay, so
I'm just curious,
Well, yeah, Supervisor Wildman.
can we bring this to the personnel?
No, it's not on the personnel agenda either. Your items
Sometimes
have to
that-
be on the agenda and posted for public consumption 24 hours in advance. If they're not, we don't.
All right, Supervisor Conover.
Yeah, just to get back on, communicating well to people. I mean, that's another important thing to communicate that perhaps Don could coordinate with on the driver's licenses and whatever. And again, if you could prepare a very brief kind of synopsis bullet kind of thing and get it out to the towns, I'd be happy to put it on our public information board and maybe even put it on our internet site. But I think that that's the kind of thing that I think you're right. I think there's a lot of confusion out there. And I think that and that creates issues in your office, and people maybe are rushing when they don't need to rush, which lightens those. So I think doing a job there, I think would help as well.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll work with Don on maybe an informational video.
Be
right,
ideal.
well, let's move on to the next discussion item. NISAC conference hosted in Lake George in May. Is there anything you would like to elaborate on that or?
No, just wanted to let you know that the Association of County Clerks has picked Lake George to be their venue for the May conference. So we will be in Lake George May 18th through May 20th. Oh, sorry, May 21st. At the Marriott in Lake George. They have asked me to help with goodie bags. So usually whatever county you're in, the host county kind of provides promotional items. The tourism is helping me with bags and I think some other information. But if anybody has any suggestions or any promotional items from the county or towns, I would love to take them from you.
How many do you need? What do you expect?
We have about 100 attendees.
Okay, about 110. Well, that's good that they're located locally. And so with the corners, that's good. All right, if anything else before I move on and allow the privilege of the floor? From the committee, nothing from the committee, privilege of the floor. Nothing from privilege of the floor. How about a motion to adjourn? Supervisor Conover. Second by Supervisor
Appreciate it.
Gonzalez.
Appreciate all you guys.
All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying